Howdy, folks. Day soap is Tabac. This is like a milk glass container. Uh, it gets very slick when you're trying to work up the lather. The soap in here comes all the way up to about that ledge right there. So when you're trying to whip it up in the container, for me, especially right now, I get lather everywhere. There's 4.4 ounces in here, or 125 grams, depending on what you want to work with, and it's made in Germany. And it is, I would call it a classic scent. I like it. I got it here recently. Thought today would be a good day to do the 2-day growth shave with the new leaf twig. And I got the matching aftershave. I have a link down below for somebody that actually has this in stock. I know for me, when I first was hunting for it, when I decided it was time to get it, finding somebody that had it in stock was a bit of a problem. So that's the reason I got the links down below, as well as the information for the leaf razor. This one here is the gunmetal or mercury, according to Leaf. But I have a link down below, and I also have Chris's video link down below, so you can watch his. He did his earlier today, and I watched a good part of it. And it for me, it's hard not to. I like it. It works well for me. It's not overly aggressive. It's not too mild. It's hitting right in the middle of the pack, if you will, and it gives smooth, comfortable shaves. And for me, when I look at for razors that maybe the masses might like, this one here kind of fits the bill, especially when you're talking about somebody that's might be relatively new, or doesn't want an aggressive shave, or when it comes to single edge. In other words, if they've had any bad experiences with injectors or gym style razors, this one here will be a lot different than that. I think that, in other words, a lot of people will be quite happy with the shade they get with this. But if you're purist in the way of single edges, liking a lot of that blade feel, or whatever the case might be, that you get from a single edge, especially the thickness of that blade. Of course, this is a DE blade, so it is thinner, so the shade is going to be a little bit different. But, it just depends on what you're looking for. But I think for a lot of people, this particular shaver is going to fit the bill for them. I've already put a hot towel to the face. I'll show you the brush in just a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. This one is the Preshave Cube Christmas model, if you will. He's got a few of them out there. Not always. All of them are, how you say, you guess you might say they might be seasonal. In other words, some of them, Rabbit Banana, for instance, or the holiday one, or the lump of coal, but you kind of get the idea. Every once in a while, some of these will come out, and not all of them, are only offered in the cube style either. Every once in a while, he'll have some that are in the tube, which will make it nice for travel purposes, as well as maybe not really a big fan of getting this all over your hands and then trying to put your razor in that same hand. In other words, not quite as messy, if you will. Whipping up this lather this morning was quite a chore. As you can tell, in other words, that soap, with it being so close to the top, the lather just goes everywhere. I mean, it's a mess. But I guess you might say sometimes that's all part of the fun of doing this kind of shave, is the mess. I think I'm going to try to line up my sideburns a little higher, and then eventually they'll creep back down. But this scent on the Holiday Cube, it is really nice. I like it. It does well for my nose, and it's not even mentholated. This is the brush I'm using. It is from Frank Shaving. Got this from Randy Wright from Polar Shaving. And this particular knot, if I remember right, he referred to it as a G4. It is I guess you might say it's kind of like a knot, that synthetic knot that kind of sort of imitates a badger knot, maybe, especially on the dark side, of course. This knot, I was trying to think how many brushes I have that has a knot similar to this, and I think there might be 2, maybe 3 more that are like this. And the uniqueness of this knot, at least to me, is it seems to hold not only the water but the soap in between the bristles a bit better than some of the other knots. It's similar to the cashmere. As you can kind of tell, it's dripping everywhere. But it is definitely thickening up. Like I say, I got 2 days worth of growth. So this is going to be a test, I guess you might say, for the leaf razor to see how it works out. I may have to pause this for just a moment. I think I got it. Yeah, I got to pause here. I think Tony is misbehaving here, and I'm going to have to address it. Otherwise, it'll be doing throughout the whole show. But so hang on just a second. Okay, I'm back. I've never tried that feature before, so we'll see how it works out. Got it worked up there. It's a little thicker, not quite as wet as I normally work it up as. Here we go. Oh, the blade. Almost forgot. Perma-Sharp, pre-cut. Figured it would do the job today. Worked pretty good, I think. Be my first time trying it this way. Yeah, a little wetter would have been better. It's a little thick. Yeah, it's doing just fine. There's one thing that Chris mentioned in his video that I keep on forgetting in mind. Is that when it comes to blade loading, there is a magnet. Helps hold it in place for you. Really nice feature. Blade loading is pretty easy. Yeah, I did get this whipped up just a little thick. Have a feeling though the next two passes won't be quite as thick. Like I say, the blade feel is there. It's just not over the top. It's not scary, in other words. And I know some shavers that are like that. You get a lot of blade feel, makes you nervous, and then you're not focusing on what you should be doing. For me, and this is me, my experience, because my eyesight's different, lining up on one side versus the other, this side's easier. I'm right-handed, but when I go to shoot like a shotgun or a rifle, I shoot left-handed because I see better on that side. Regardless if I got glasses or not, it just seems to work out better that way. Even with the 2-day growth, this is still a pretty smooth shave. This is a great scent too. It kind of falls in the line of, you know, that category, either you love it or hate it. I guess for me, I'm old enough where these sort of scents are very familiar to me over the years, what I may have smelled over time. Not having any clue what I was smelling at the time. I was a kid, and you smell something and you go on about your business, but you do remember it. In other words, it made an impact. It's kind of like Brute. Brute came out. It's a very popular scent, and might consider it a classic by now. A lot of people still like it. I don't mind it. It works well. I like to pair Brute up with an almond scented soap. I like Stetson. I have to be in the right mood for skin bracer. Even when back in the day, it was kind of like sometimes I'd be in the mood for it, but you know, just every so often. In other words, it wasn't an everyday thing like say like Brute or Stetson when I first would get it. Beard reduction, that was the first pass, 2-day growth, and depending on your beard growth and how your technique is, it took off a good part of the beard growth. I have, in other words, the against the grain pass right up underneath here would take care of that, and maybe, in other words, if I would change my routine, I could get by with 2 passes. It's, how can you say smooth, but it's still yet efficient, in my opinion. It's straight. It hit that sweet spot in between being efficient but yet still smooth. There we go. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. If you hear, if you watch Chris's video, and if you listen to him, in other words, the voice, it is hard for me, and I could tell he was having fun with it too, is that you get so excited about the shave and about what you're getting with this shaver that you kind of lose track of what you're trying to say and the words that you need to put it into. Yeah, I loaded this brush a bit heavy. I'm not used to face lathering, so I kind of expected I might have been a little too heavy. I was concerned about being light, so I went heavy and trying to add more water. Make this a bit more on the wet side, which works well for me. You need to whip up your lather that works best for you. And what works well for me may not work well for you. In other words, that first lather was a little thick and it was smooth. It went fine, but it just takes a lot more effort to rinse out the razor. And I prefer something that's wet and easy to rinse off. And not only that, usually wet provides a bit more slickness. Especially if you're going with a brush, I mean not a brush, but a shaver that needs that kind of slickness. Straight razor, shave it. You don't want it really dragging across your skin. You want it gliding across your skin. Great scent. I can still smell it. It is very smooth going across my skin. Perma-Sharp is a pretty decent blade. Most people don't complain about it. It's not dull and it's not too edgy. Relatively smooth blade. In a shaver like this, you probably, out of some of your other blades that might be considered a little bit too sharp, and a DE, you might get a few more shaves out of it using a shaver like this. In other words, those feather blades. I guess you might say this might tame it for you. Yeah, 2-day growth, I don't think it's going to have a problem. I ain't having any issues with it. To be honest with you, it's not any different than a 1-day beard growth pass. I can shave with this all week. For me, it's very intuitive. Angles easy to find. The pressure, it's pretty much, in other words, as soon as you get started, you can already tell how much pressure you need to put on it. There's not a whole lot left. Go through my normal routine of 3 passes with a single edge or a double edge. Just about go with that. That is pretty slick. That's pretty slick soap. But my handle on my shaving brush is very slick. See, there's a lot of soap that stays inside the bristles as well as water. It doesn't absorb it, it just holds it in between the bristles just a bit, so you have to kind of, you say, work with it in order to get it to release it. Some people don't like that knot for that reason, but might depend on what kind of lather you use to weapon up. If you're going with a face lather, it may not be so bad because it'll be there for you to get a hold of throughout the shave. Shave 326 with the Wee Scott. That brush, you know, the one that's very short, Badger. I watched some of that video. Thought that was pretty funny. Just the name of it, the Wee Scott, to me is it's humorous. But if you're looking for that, for me it falls right in that category. If you're wanting to make your shave soap or cream last longer, go with a smaller knot. Once you get used to it, you'll be able to get enough lather for all 3 passes once you learn how to work with it. But that the Wee Scott, I just, you know, when you look at it, it is just a little brush. Great for travel if you're looking for something like that. I think I'd have a hard time traveling with it. I'm afraid something bad would happen to it. I'd like it too much. I may have to look into getting one like that one day. I have some brushes that, in other words, got like a 20mm knot, which works just fine for me. Believe it or not, to me, 26 is too big. I have some that are 26, and they're not my favorite size knot for me. They're just too big for no more area when I got to cover. 24 is about as big as I like to go. Nice, easy-going shaver. I would say it would be close on the mild side due to its efficiency. There is some blade feel. Like I said, it's not a whole lot. It's not it's not like some of my other shavers. You just have to experience them and compare, like this Twig versus my Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement open comb slant. That's ox blood. It's got a lot of blade feel. I mean, it's as soon as you get started, I mean, it has got a lot. And when you go to what I consider that extreme to something like this, yeah, this is a whole lot different. Blade feel is still there, but it's a lot smoother. Exfoliating, in other words, with the blood ox, you don't have to worry about exfoliating. It'll take care of it for you. I mean, it is an aggressive shaver for me. A Gillette old style open comb. A lot of blade feel on that one there, and I feel like it's an aggressive shaver for me. For some other folks, maybe not so much, but for me, I think it's an aggressive shaver, and I have to really mind my P's and Q's with it, because otherwise on my neck, I'm going to end up with some places that are not going to be happy. This shaver's not like that, in other words. And it's good for those that are just starting out, or maybe just not looking for anything very aggressive. Because if you already got issues with your skin, I think this one here just might fit the bill. And definitely make your DE blades go further down the road. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements PA alum block complete with rubber band this morning. To me, that's the only way to go with the rubber band, because once this thing gets wet, it's not easy to hang on to. It's not really expensive. I think it's like $4.50. It's just that, it hits a hard floor, it's a mess. Besides the fact you just lost most of your alum block, if not all of it. Very nice shave this morning. At the end of yesterday's shave, I got to thinking more about it, thinking, I should do one with just 2 days worth of growth, just so folks can see that it will take care of it. I didn't have any doubts. I had more doubts on how big of a mess I was going to make whipping up this lather. I think I failed to mention that the lid for this container, of course, like I mentioned, it's milk glass, very fragile, but the lid is plastic, and the lid does not fit, how you see, real tight. It's not a tight fit with that lid. This is the lid right here. It does have a groove, it does fit in there, but it's a little loose. It's not a real tight fit, so what I do is once I clean out the top of my puck and let it air dry, I take that aluminum foil that it was used previously to seal it up, put it back down in there, put the lid back on it, and it's good to go. Helps keep my scent fresh, I guess you might say. Excuse me. Oh, so as it goes for the restrictor in here, glass container with, this is what the inside of the, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's what the inside of the lid looks like. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. It's kind of deep, so the light may not get far enough in there, but it fits right down in there with that plastic restrictor, which is fairly small, so in other words, it's not going to come gushing out on you. At least I'm going to be smelling good for a Sunday. I love this stuff. Waited way too long to get it. Nice containers. This is, guess you might say, a classy type situation. It is really nice to have your soap in containers like this. It's pretty cool. Had a great shave. I hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and smooth shaves to you.